What's up, your phone the reaction? In today's video, we have Miami bought a crazy 2026 transfer portal class by Scott Fisher. I think Miami can make it back to the national championship game. Why is nobody talking about Darren Minter? This nigga Darren Minter won the ACC with Duke. I don't think Duke won the ACC since the 90s, bro. Like, let's see. That nigga won the ACC with Duke game. I don't think they won that shit since the 90s game. Uh, Duke. Duke won the they won it in 2025. When was the last time them niggas won that shit, man? To secure their first title win since 1962 game. Like, bro. And they was down and they won in overtime. Why is nobody talking about Darian Minter? Like, I feel like him and Trinidad Campbell's probably gonna be the best quarterbacks coming out of next year's draft class.
Transfer portal is obviously a huge part of college football now, and the big-time programs seem to pluck talent from all around the college football landscape to make their next season's rosters. One school that has been doing that a lot lately is the Miami Hurricanes, and for 2026,
All them niggas be. I'm not even a Miami fan. I'm an LSU fan, but niggas be complaining. All these niggas do is buy quarterbacks. These niggas can't develop a quarterback for shit. Shit. Nobody be saying that about LSU because LSU we doing the same thing basically. Shit, we doing the same shit.
they ended up finishing with
Well,
the number.
no, Nussmeier been here. Nussmeier was a developed LSU quarterback, but Nussmeier sucked.
Number 4 overall transfer portal class, and they spent a lot of money on these guys. In today's video, I want to break down their 2026 portal class by going through the 12 different players they signed, who they are, and what they bring to the table for the Canes. But before we get started, if you're a big fan of college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you want to support today's video, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I can cover next. Now let's go ahead and get started and talk about.
But this nigga gonna have a better season than Carson Beck. Bro, this nigga way better than Carson Beck. Nigga, if he was the starting quarterback in the national championship game, Miami probably would have been champions, bro. I'm gonna give it a buck.
Miami's 2026
But
transfer
it's gonna be hard, bro. Y'all losing Ruben Bain and that other linebacker. I forgot his name.
portal haul. All right, so our
But Fletcher coming back, the running back. Y'all still got Malachi Tony and shit.
first guy is going to be their new kicker, and that will be Jake Weinberg. He's currently considered the number 21 kicker in the portal, and he came out of Delray Beach, Florida, and was the number 10 kicker in his high school class. After a couple of years at Florida State, he will now arrive at Miami and play for an arch rival. If somehow he doesn't work out, though, they'll have Jack Olson. He came out of Wheaton, Illinois, and was considered the number 4 kicker in his recruiting class and the number 2 kicker in the portal. I guess he will likely end up being the starter for them, as he has been at Northwestern and productive the last few years, and it's quite impressive that Miami only ended up having 12 commits in their portal class, 2 of which being kickers, and it finished that highly regarded. These other 10 guys must be pretty special. Alright, so our next guy is going to be a safety by the name of Conrad Hussey. Coming out of St. Thomas Aquinas High School, he was one of the top players in the country, as Conrad was actually considered the number 9 overall safety and the 112th best player in the class of 2023. This came after a very productive career in which he had 29 tackles, 3 picks, and 5 pass breakups as a junior, and he was also a guy who was incredibly successful at track. Conrad would end up spending 2 years at Florida State, where he combined for about 40 tackles, 2 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 interception. But his numbers fell off a bit between 2023 and 2024, so he would transfer over to Oregon State. Unfortunately, this past season, he'd only get a chance to play in 3 games for the Oregon State Beavers, and they were a horrible program, but he would end up finishing with 5 tackles and 1 pass breakup. I'm not sure if he was injured or not, but honestly, based on his potential and pedigree coming out of high school, he'll probably end up being a solid depth piece for them, who has a pretty high ceiling. The Canes will end up losing C.J. Daniels to the NFL, but paired alongside Malachi
They lost C.J. Daniels too.
Tony, they got a big-time receiver in Cam Vaughn. Coming out of high school, he was actually considered a 0-star recruit, and things were difficult for him. It looks like he played a lot of positions, as during his career,
That boy a 0 star. Your ass ain't getting out 1 star. Shit.
he actually threw for 3,400 yards and 25 touchdowns while running for 2,300 yards and 26 scores. He ended up making a position switch, and his only offer seems to come from Jacksonville State, where I think he ended up being a walk-on. He appeared in only 3 games at Jacksonville State in 2023, before then moving to wide receiver in 2024. Vaughn would catch 48 passes for 800 yards and 5 touchdowns, and because of that, he became a pretty big name in the transfer portal and would end up making his transfer over to West Virginia. He'd end up having a pretty productive season for the Mountaineers, finishing with 35 catches, 541 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Vaughn now has 83 catches, 1,300 yards, and 9 scores in 2 years, and he's currently considered a 4-star transfer, the number 135 wide receiver, and the 135th best player in the portal, and this is a great addition to the Canes' passing attack. Boston College sent a couple of good players to the portal, as whether it was Turbo Richard to Indiana or Reed Harris to Arizona State. Another one is Omar Thornton. Coming out of the infamous American Heritage High School in Fort Lauderdale, Omar Thornton was a pretty underrated recruit, as he was considered a 3-star, the number 156 linebacker, and was barely ranked inside the top 1,800 recruits in the class of 2024. Thornton was pretty solid, though, as he had 81 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, and 2 picks, but would end up committing to play for Boston College over offers from Florida Atlantic, Jacksonville State, and UL Monroe. It's very interesting why he wasn't recruited. Thornton ended up having a good solid 2 years at Boston College, as during his freshman year in 2024, he had 28 tackles and 1 forced fumble, but would have his true breakout in 2025. He finished with 82 tackles, 1 pass deflection, 2 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 1 interception. In 2 years, he has
Damn, but they got some dogs. But I'm telling you, Miami could be back, bro. That's if my LSU Tigers don't win. LSU. I got my Tigers winning though. I ain't gonna lie. I got us winning the national championship. I ain't gonna lie. We could go undefeated, bro. It's gonna be hard in the SEC, but bro, we got a crazy team, bro. Will seeding, bro. Oh, I'm so excited, bro, for the season.
over
I'm just excited, my nigga.
100 tackles, 2 pass deflections, 5 forced fumbles, and a pick, and is currently considered the number 6 safety in the portal and a top 100 player. This guy should start right away for the Hurricanes and is a huge impact signee for them.
It's either, but it all start with Sam Levitt. Hopefully, this Sam Levitt nigga good, bro. If this nigga another Nussmeier, I'm fucking done.
It really seems Miami did an incredible job in the transfer portal at the receiver spot, as they also got Vandravius Jacobs. Coming out of Vero Beach High School in Fort Pierce, Florida, Jacobs was actually considered a 4-star player and the number 42 wide receiver in the class of 2023. Jacobs was a lot of fun to watch, as during his career, he caught 149 passes for 2,300 yards and 31 touchdowns, and would end up originally playing for Florida State after offers from pretty much every school in the country. Unfortunately, Jacobs was not able to get going at Florida State, though, as he just had 3 catches and 1 touchdown. He would transfer to play at South Carolina in 2024, and as a backup, had 12 catches for 181 yards. He was a lot better this past season, though, as alongside Nick Harbor, he caught 32 passes for 548 yards and 4 touchdowns, and still has plenty of potential. So far in 3 years, he has about 47 catches, 800 yards, and 5 touchdowns, and Jacobs is currently considered the number 23 overall wide receiver in the portal, a 4-star, and the 90th best player. He'll be a great add for them. Honestly, the Damon Wilson addition is a huge one for them, as he's considered a top 10 portal player, but the situation surrounding him is also a bit
Oh, Edge.
gray. After coming out of Venice High School in Florida, he was considered a 5-star recruit after having 90 tackles, 23 TFLs, and 14.5 sacks. He'd originally committed to play to Georgia and spent 2 years there in Athens. He had 24 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, and then became a top-tier transfer in the 2025 portal and would go to Mizzou. He became the team's best pass rusher, as alongside Zion Young, he had 23 tackles, 9 sacks, and 1 interception. He could have gone off to the NFL, but he got involved with an NIL contract dispute with Georgia, and currently that situation is still unresolved, but instead of going to the NFL or coming back to Mizzou, he entered the portal and will now head to Miami. As I said, he's the number 8 overall player in the portal and a huge addition for Miami's pass rush. Another guy that Miami is bringing in on the
Them niggas lost Ruben Bain and got another dog at the fucking pass rushing fucking linebacker. God damn.
defensive line is a player by the name of Jarquez Carter. Coming out of Newberry High School in Florida, Carter was a bit underrated. 24/7 Sports only had him as a 3-star recruit, but the composite had him as a 4-star and a top 20 defensive lineman in the country. He ended up finishing his junior season with 67 tackles and 37 TFLs, so I'm not sure what 24/7 Sports was thinking, but he ended up enrolling at Ohio State, where in his lone season with the Buckeyes, he'd finished with a grand total of 1 tackle. Obviously, he has
Bruh, what, my nigga? One tackle game?
plenty of potential, and that's exactly what Miami is banking on, as the guy definitely has untapped potential and should get a chance to play in their rotation this year, but as of right now, he's considered only a 3-star transfer, the number 47 defensive lineman, and the 390th overall player in the portal. The Canes really did a nice job on the defensive line, as they also ended up getting Kiana Davis. Coming out of South Point Catholic High School in Tucson, Arizona, Davis was considered only a 3-star recruit and someone who was definitely going under the radar. He actually ended up becoming the number 70 defensive lineman in the country and would commit to Nebraska over offers from UCLA, Oregon State, Arizona, and Michigan State. This came after a senior season in which he had 60 tackles, 18.5 TFLs, and 8 sacks, as well as a pick 6. The guy was definitely incredible, and Davis would end up developing nicely while he was at Nebraska. He'd have 10 tackles as a true freshman, but in 2025, he'd finished with 32 tackles, 1 pass deflection, and 1.5 sacks. The guy has lots and lots of potential, and is currently considered one of the top players in the portal, as he's ranked as the number 10.
Damn, I ain't know these niggas. I ain't know. The only player I knew they got in the portal was Mensa. I ain't know they got these dogs. They got some dogs in the portal.
And defensive lineman, the 83rd overall player, and a 4-star recruit, and is one of many impactful signees on defense for Miami. We've got just 3 more players
Yeah, they try and please Mike Worth, and Mike Worth gonna be off that coke on that sideline again next year. Hype as hell.
to talk about in their portal haul, and the first one is an offensive lineman by the name of Jamal Merriweather. Coming out of Brunswick High School in Georgia, Merriweather was actually pretty underrated. He's only considered a 3-star recruit and the number 31 offensive tackle, and would choose Georgia over UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, and Iowa State. Honestly, I was kind of shocked when I looked at that, but at 6'7" and nearly 300 pounds, Merriweather was definitely someone who could develop down the road. He ended up appearing in 3 games in 2024 against Clemson, Tennessee Tech, and UMass, and in 2025, he was a reserve offensive lineman, but would appear in 12 total games. Obviously, he's not supposed to be a starter at Miami next year, but he is considered the number 84 offensive tackle and is just outside the top 1,000, and hopefully he'll get a chance to develop and play, but right now it just seems like more of a depth piece for Miami. We now get to our third wide receiver on the list, and that is Cooper Barkate. He was the number 1 option for Darian Mensah last year at Duke, and Barkate's got a
Fucking white wide receiver, Wes Welker.
pretty awesome story.
Yeah, that boy followed after Mensa.
He comes from Mater Dei High School in Santa Ana, California, and was not ranked as highly as other guys from that high school. He's considered the number 26 athlete and was just outside of the top 400 in the class of 2022, and would actually decide to go to Harvard over offers from Arizona State, Arkansas, Kansas, and Nebraska. His dad
Wait, this nigga played football at Harvard game? What?
ended up playing college football at UCLA and was a punter, and would end up having an unbelievable start with Harvard. In 19 starts with the Crimson, he ended up finishing with 113 catches, 1,007
Bitch, I know, bro. Niggas play football at Harvard game.
742 yards, 14 touchdowns, and averaged nearly 16 yards per catch. He had one of the best seasons in Harvard football history for a wide receiver and was an FCS All-American. He was a very underrated transfer in the portal and would end up spending his next season in 2025 at Duke. He became the number 1 option for Darian Mensah as he finished 16th in the country with 72 catches, 9th in the country with 1,106 yards, and 38th in the country with 7 touchdowns. Barkate was a do-it-all player, and instead of going off to the NFL, he will spend his one last year of eligibility catching passes from Darian Mensah at Miami. And finally, we get to our last player, and that is quarterback Darian Mensah,
Yeah, the Harvard Crimson. This nigga really played football at Harvard game. What the fuck?
who is a
I'm
very
looking at this shit on Google.
expensive signee. Miami has gotten quarterbacks in the portal the last 2 years in Carson Beck, and before that Cam Ward, and Mensah will be the third in line. Unlike Beck, though, Mensah was not a big deal coming out of high school, as he was just a 3-star recruit from St. Joseph High School in California, and his best
Bro, why is every quarterback from California, gang? All the top quarterbacks in the NFL from Cali: Sam Darnold, Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love, C.J. Stroud, top quarterback, no, but starting quarterbacks, Bryce Young. What the fuck? Tom Brady from Cali. What?
Best offer would end up coming from Tulane. He ended up finishing
What's up in with California and quarterbacks, man? What the fuck they be doing out there? Like,
with
them
23
niggas get born and just start throwing footballs.
100 yards and 25 touchdowns as a senior and would arrive at Tulane, becoming a backup to Michael Pratt. The number 112 quarterback in the country would end up finally getting his chance to start in 2024 and would throw for 2,700 yards and 22 touchdowns. I guess he was a big enough deal to get a huge portal offer from Duke as he would replace Malik Murphy, and they got their return on investment. Duke would end up winning the ACC, and Mensa finished second in the country in passing yards with 3,973, second for touchdowns at 34, and had a top 20 QBR. Probably could have gone off and been a day 2 pick in the NFL, but instead found a way out of his contract at Duke and is getting an absurd amount of money to go to Miami this year. He'll likely be a 1-year rental for the Canes, just like the last two guys, and I'm excited to see how he's going to do this season, especially with all
I think he a Heisman candidate. I'm gonna give it a buck. Heisman candidate.
these big-time wide receivers they brought in. They already have one of the top players in the country in Kadarius Toney returning, and running back Mark Fletcher is back, so Miami should be pretty exciting. Honestly, it looks like Miami was definitely going after two position groups, as they ended up getting their receivers and their defensive linemen, and pretty much everyone they brought in either has a ton of potential or is considered a blue-chip transfer. Miami definitely has a good shot at making it back to the national championship game next year, and we'll see how it all plays out, but they probably paid a lot of money for this class, and they should get a good return on investment. But what do you guys think? If you're a Miami fan, what do you think of
LSU winning the national championship. Can we play them in the national championship game? I don't know. I don't know how to bracket and shit work, but hopefully, I love to see y'all Miami. I love to. You know what I'm saying.